Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here with a familiar face if you've been watching our videos, Stacy Small of Elite Travel International, and we should make a little amend there because he's also created a new company now called Elite Travel Club, and this is what this is all about. Now, you may have seen Stacy. First of all, I've been working with Stacy for a long time over the years. We have a long history together. I was there when she first became a travel advisor. And I'm here now when she's doing some innovative things. We interviewed her last year, talking about how she had changed her model and what she had done during the pandemic. And now here we are again in 2022. And here's another change that is adjusting to the conditions that we have now. And it's a new model that Stacy hopes will work for her. And we're going to find out all about it and all about what Stacy's doing on Insider Travel Report. Now, Stacy, first of all, I did a little preview there, but let's just talk in brief because we did talk about that in the last video we did together, which indeed was one of our top videos of the year. So congratulations on that. A lot of people were interested in what you're doing and how you've grown as a travel advisor. But let's kind of quickly review your career as a travel advisor. I believe you started in what, 2005, I think?
Yes, it was after writing a bunch of articles for Agent at Home when I realized that my dream of kind of working from home and selling what I knew, which after many years of writing about travel, which gave me an opportunity to sign on with travel experts, and that was back in 2005.
And then you sort of grew your agency. You moved. You went to different hosts, and you were always affiliated with Virtuoso, and you started to grow your agency, right?
Yeah, what happened is people saw what I was doing and they wanted to do it as well. So by 2019, I had gone from just me to 30 independent contractors. I had tried for a few years having my own IATA, and what I'm not good at as a journalist was things like accounting and math and paperwork. And I wanted to stay focused on my clients and my ICs. So I did realize that I preferred to sort of be a sub-host under a larger agency and give my clients a better platform with support. And so I did that. In 2019 was our best year revenue wise, 30
Right.
people, almost $20 million in sales. And then took a deep breath in March, like everybody, March 2020 now we're talking about, and just had an epiphany that what I wanted to do was really go back to what I did best and really enjoyed. And that was what led me to make a call to Susan Farrell and say, can I come back to Travel Experts and just go back to focusing on my clients and growing
Right.
my business. And my ICs had a lot of experience at this point. A lot of them have my former playbook as I guided them and taught them a lot of what I had learned. And they're with different agencies or have their own, but like the whole industry, everybody kind of went their own way for a while and has had to readjust and make their own decisions on where to land.
Yeah, so you basically you kind of you were up to 30 ICs, and then you basically said, no, I want to go back to just being an IC with a host, not even a hosted host.
Yeah.
So then you basically it's just you and everybody else went their separate ways and ended up in different host agencies, I assume.
Yeah.
But you were focused, and you would also obviously by this time had moved out to Hawaii and made a decision to stay out there. So there you are. So the past 2 years, that's what you've been doing. You've been an IC. But then why we're here today is
Yeah.
you just changed the model a bit again, and you've created what you call Elite Travel Club. I mean, tell us a little bit about that and how you came to that decision.
Yeah, so Elite Travel International started as me, my brand, and my clients knew me as that. And as it grew, it meant hiring people and having people work for me. What I realized is that I really love working with my clients one-on-one, start to finish, managing pretty much every detail of their trip, and also getting to know them and their families. And I have clients whose honeymoons I did 10 years ago that now have 2 or 3 kids. And if I had all those people working with me, I couldn't focus 100% on my clients. So that, coupled with the fact that I kept hearing about like this concierge medicine model and knowing the high-end clients like to pay for services where they build relationships, and studying other industries, not just looking at the travel industry, but seeing what's working in other industries is, I think, what sparked my, it was a little scary because I didn't know people were going to say yes right away, but I had this kind of idea back in August, and I wanted to send out my first sort of teaser email to my clients that I thought would catch on and be interested. And, you know, some of them signed on right away. Some took a month or two, but I also, the last few weeks, had clients saying, oh, I hope you still have a space for me. We've been busy, but we for sure want to still be in your book. And I never really set a limit of how many people. It was more about who's going to
Right.
join, what's my bandwidth, how many people per family. And the focus is really having my clients pay for my services in advance, which after 2021, it didn't work to just be charging $500 per trip fees for absolutely everybody who wanted to book a trip through me. And
Right.
we were all in reactive mode, you know, wanting more clients, wanting more business, trying to make up for 2020. And I just started to feel exhausted and spread too thin again. So I just brought it back to who do I really want to work with, and who do I think values me enough and knows me and what I do for them to pay me for my services. And that's what led me to do this. And I
And now,
created a,
so I mean, I don't know if you want to tell me exactly the fee that you charge, but because that's probably a little proprietary. But I mean, we're not talking $500. We're talking a lot more than that.
my starting membership, which is really designed for like a small family or a couple, is 5,000. So my
Okay.
entry fee is 5,000. I have a no limits membership, more for the client that travels with a lot of family and friends and wants no fees additional, just is 12,500. And then there's a corporate tier and one more in between. And I gave them all Hawaiian names to kind of make them fun and to make this much different than just another like
So
club
it's a
with a,
multi-tiered system, right, for your fees, right?
I give clients 4 different, choices. There's one that's geared if they're more of a business and a leisure traveler, just a business traveler, or going to be traveling with a lot of people. So yeah,
Right.
the fee ranges, and it's been great. And I can tell you that it doubled my income for 2021 over a couple
Oh,
of months.
great.
So
Yeah. Now,
yeah,
yeah, but so how many clients do you roughly serve right now?
I mean, I haven't really been counting numbers because some are now inviting, their family. My
Right.
no limits membership can include, up to a family of 20. So I just want to monitor it and keep my baseline membership to the point where it never puts me where I can't be available to the clients that need me. But I have all my favorite clients signed right on. A couple surprised me and signed on. A couple I hadn't heard from in a few years reached out. And now I am only going to work with paying members. So
Right.
I have a couple of clients I need to follow up with that we're thinking about it, a few that I think will reach out, but I'm good. I'm busy, and I love waking up in the morning, checking my email, because I'm only getting texts, emails, and calls now from
So you
paying members.
you didn't have a lot of resistance to this. I mean, a lot of travel advisors, and I think you may have been among them way back when you were thinking about charging fees, and there still was that resistance. And this dates from a long time ago when you and
Yes.
I were both at Travel Agent Magazine writing stories about fees, and people were very resistant to fees. And now you're talking membership fees, which is
Well,
a different
I
thing.
really got going with my client base, and it's a lot of tech and Bay Area. Is in 2010, they all were, they could all book their travel themselves if they wanted. They didn't know me and know what I, could do for them at this point. So I didn't feel right charging $100 transaction fees and losing the business to an online booking. So I really just went the route of I'm making enough money on commissions and had built up my business that I didn't want to nickel and dime my clients. And then this year it was tricky because a lot of my longtime clients needed me and wanted me to plan trips. And I did say to them, I've started charging a $500 per trip fee. And I did ask a few of them, it was kind of an informal focus group, would you be willing to pay me if I move forward? And it was like, of course, how much? And that was really nice. There was a few that wanted to hop on the phone and hear a little bit more from me, which I've never had the time to do with them, and actually explain what I do behind the scenes.
Mhm.
And the model of me not getting paid 3, 6, sometimes, a year after we planned their trip, which once they heard that, they're kind of horrified that all these people like work in the travel industry and don't get paid until sometimes
Well, a
months
lot
after.
of people don't understand and that's been a major focus, of course, in the past
Yes,
couple of years, given that income dried up, revenue dried up, and people weren't getting paid if they were on a commission basis. If
yes,
they had some fees, and some suppliers, new ones stepped to the
yeah,
plate and started to pay sort of commissions in advance. Not many,
not
but
many.
a few of them. So you
Yeah.
had that kind of thing. So, but you found general acceptance so far with your good clients, the people you
Yes.
like to accept this club fee model, right?
Yeah, and they're all like, great, sounds great. We'd love to be on your list. We want your full attention. What I'm realizing now is, wow, like they want to build a relationship with me just as much as I'm interested in building a deeper relationship with them and getting to know more about what they love to do. And one client said, can we schedule a call? I want you to help me schedule my vacations or I won't take them. So they're paying me $5,000 a year now to be their part of their team. And that's what my clients I now, instead of having their assistants book their travel or trying to do it themselves, they paid me to handle this. So now I'm just essentially a part of their team, and
Right.
they're not forgetting to email me, and they're not thinking they're bugging me because now I'm part of their world, and which works better for me and for them. And I'm still earning the commissions, which is a beautiful thing. So
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I said, so this is a revenue model where you get your club fee, but you are going to still get commission, obviously, from
I
the
think,
suppliers that you book on, right?
of course, it just eliminates that stress of like wondering when those commissions are going to come in and knowing that's my only form of income. And once I was very transparent and explained that to my clients and what I do and why this makes sense, they've all pretty much, a few surprised me. A few that I didn't know would be the type of client to pay for my services stepped up and said, well, I don't want to not work with you. So
Well, I
sign.
mean, they're probably used to paying financial advisors and a lot of other people some kind of fee up front, and doctors, lawyers, things like that. So
Yeah.
this shouldn't have been a big surprise. We've been arguing about that for years with travel advisors and travel agencies, and now here we are. Maybe a lot of people I know. People charging fees, travel advisors charging fees in the last 2 years has increased dramatically in a number of consortia that I know, because people just had to, and they moved into that model.
Yeah, and the different, I mean, I was a little afraid too, because like most agents, you're afraid, they'll say, well, I'll book it through my friend who doesn't charge fees. So there was always that. And there's that, it still might be a one-time, I don't want to work with one-time clients anymore. I want to build the relationships, and I want to not be charging them a per trip fee and then maybe never hear from them again. I really only want to work with those that we're both making this commitment, and I'm available. My clients can text me 9 o'clock on Sunday night if we need to change their flight tomorrow. I love helping my clients. And now that I have the bandwidth to do it and I'm being paid well to do it, it feels a lot more enjoyable. It's circled back to actually really loving what I do.
Of course, now that you're based in Maui, you have a few hours on them. So if they want to do that on the East Coast or West Coast,
Well, they started, 4 a.m. I do turn my phone off, and if I have clients, the last few weeks, I had clients traveling through all this COVID. I didn't put my do not, I'm available if clients need me. But I also know how to connect them to somewhere locally where they are. My clients are never going to be stranded or not able to reach me. That's part of the big understood.
Now, what do you think is this kind of the optimum number of clients that you can serve as an individual right now? You used to say a couple hundred for an individual travel advisor, and you said there's a rub in that, is that you're working for corporate clients, you're working for clients with families, things like that. So I don't know if there's some number you have in your head that I'm going to stop at that, or at least try to keep it at that, because obviously sometimes you will lose
Yeah.
somebody. But what is it, if there is one?
I don't have a set number. It's honestly, I'm really comfortable where I'm at now, and I know I have room to maybe bring on another 10 great clients. And then I'm going to need to take a pause and see how much everybody needs me before I move forward. I'm keeping it to, you really need a referral from an existing client to get in this first year and for me to get this going. And everybody signs a 1 year. It's basically just a 1 year commitment with the understanding, if it doesn't feel aligned or you're not happy with me and I'm not happy with you, then I'll refund your fee.
Right.
And keeping it pretty simple, no big legalese, no big commitment, but just that we have this understanding that you're going to get my top, attention and priority. So I don't want to spread myself too thin and get to the point where I can't do that.
And I still remember, I think for me, you wrote a column about once upon a time about firing a client. And I'm sure you're still in that mode. If somebody isn't, somebody you like to work with and you enjoy working with, you can just say, I'm sorry, I'm not the right fit. Right.
Well, this kind of weeds that out, because I only invited, my hit list of my first round of invites went to the people that I really have enjoyed working with. And a few new referrals have come in, but they're from people that I enjoy. So they're usually going to be like-minded, similar, this one's brother-in-law, this one's sister, but they're I have a lot of clients that fly private and have teams working with them. They're just great people. That's the theme. And I've never forgotten what Bill Fisher told me when you had me interview him back in,
I
1990.
was going to mention that because we were talking about these kind of fees are not something new. I mean, Bill Fisher, Fisher Travel, years ago was charging. I think when we did that story, it was, I don't know, 25, 50,000, and then more recently, I think it's like 100,000 that for his Hollywood types and things like that. And I think his daughter is carrying on with that. But
Do a
but yeah,
great
you
job.
wrote that. I forgot that you wrote that story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the difference is that I've always worked from home. I don't live in a big city. I don't have overhead, so I can spread out my fees amongst my clients and cover I don't have to worry about that. Whereas they have a bigger company and lots of people. But Bill said, Stacy, there's a lot of people with money. I tried, there's a lot of agents booking $99 tickets to Vegas back in the day, and there's a lot of nice people. Try to have the clients be the nice ones with money. So that's, kind of always stuck with me. That and
No,
the
I
fact that
remember meeting Bill a few times over the years. I haven't seen him in years,
it's a good,
but yeah, he definitely had a model that people were a little afraid of, but it definitely was the extreme at that time.
yeah,
And I remember we wrote stories ad nauseum back at Travel Agent Magazine about how you should charge fees, and how
yeah.
many times we talked to our friend Bob Jocelyn, the travel consultant, who was really an advocate for fees, although not quite in the same model as you're doing. I mean, we obviously had, transaction fees versus service fees, and now you have a club fee, which is a little different.
Well, and I also can tell you that it's a lot different I can send a digital invoice to a client. The minute they say yes, I send them a digital invoice via Square, and they pay $5,000 in immediately. If I had to wait for a check or send them an invoice, there was a lot of clunkiness involved, and it was awkward and asking people to pay you. Or this is just like, oh, you want in? Okay, cool. Give me 5 minutes. I'll send you an invoice, and it's just very easy. And then we move on. And we get to work. So it
No,
avoids
that's
all.
great. The immediacy of payment and things like that is very different from when we were,
Yes.
30 years ago when we were all
Yes.
together back in the. Now, you are going to continue to be affiliated with Susan Farrell and Travel Experts, and
They'll have me forever. I've tried a bunch of different models. What I've realized is that being on a commission split for me, as my income goes up, so does the amount of money I give to the host. So Susan, to her credit, she's had the same model now since the 80s. And I love knowing what my fixed fees are, basically like renting a desk and, having the platform that I need. It works. They brought on some great support team, but it's a lot of the people that I knew back when I worked there, 10 years ago. So I feel really, grateful that they let me kind of come back. And I'm their only IC out in Hawaii, which is kind of fun. And they opened a bank account and got a Hawaii seller of travel. And we went through all the motions. So to have their support and to be able to have that and be the only one out here, it's been a really nice relationship. And my
and
clients,
of course they are part of Virtuoso, which is also something I remember years ago that you
yes,
wanted to be part of Virtuoso, and
always,
and their model has grown too. I mean, back when we
yes,
first wrote about Travel Experts, the original host, I think we used to
yes,
call them, and in fact it was before the internet, and
yes,
they've grown too, and they're one of the top
yeah.
travel agencies in the Virtuoso network now.
And they make it easy for us. They have an internet, but everything we need is at our fingertips. They have a great support team. When my clients are flying commercial, I like to book my own flights because we have some good commission contracts, and I love kind of getting in Sabre and looking up flights. They have a great support desk because we're the clients at Travel Experts. So there's always somebody I can call. There's always somebody that can help me with an exchange, figure out ticketing. And that's a big, that makes my life a lot more efficient and easy. And my clients think I'm just super smart because I know how to do all this stuff. But meanwhile, I'm paying somebody their $40 behind the scenes to help me work through this complicated ticketing thing.
Although I remember when you first joined Travel Experts and you had to go take the Sabre class, and that
I
was
liked it. No, when I look back now, I'm like, thank God I did that, because some of these business travelers, they're doing these high, $20,000 tickets to London. We had to cancel and rebook a few times.
right.
Everything's, refundable, but having a host that has that support with some very skilled Sabre agents that are there to support the ICs makes my life easier and better for my clients.
Now, if you decide to grow your business further and you want to go up beyond the capacity that you have as an individual. And you've already done this before. It's like, would you add new ICs that would work with you or assistants, or are you pretty much happy where you are right now?
I would like not to. You know what I've realized is that then I've got to always be teaching something new. And that's, I did it a lot. There's like probably 100 ICs that I spent a lot of time with and gave my, playbook to, but this is my little baby and my new model, and my clients, they want to text me directly. They want to work with me. I have rock stars texting me, and not to brag, but I have these people get to know me and feel comfortable, and they know that I signed an NDA. I keep everything very private. But I also have the skills of a really experienced agent because this is what I've been doing for 15 years. So I enjoy just being involved start to finish, and my clients seem to enjoy it better, and that's what they're paying me for. So, I may bring on a behind the scenes assistant to help with some accounting or some things, but with travel experts being kind of my backbone, I don't really need another human handling. I don't see having anybody touch my clients really other than me.
Well, they want you. It's like they don't want somebody else. That's for sure.
And they loop in their assistants, so I get to know their entire team. So sometimes I'm working with their people, and it's just better when there's fewer people involved, I've realized at this level. And I really enjoy just doing it kind of start. And I know everything that's happening every minute of their trip. And so I'm a really good, fast problem solver, which for better or for worse, but I can't do that when I've got to be having other people involved. So yeah, that's the goal, is just to keep doing this, make a nice living, and have some time to enjoy life.
Absolutely. No, and that is important, and you were in a great place to do that. Now, but this is something obviously you probably could have only done now after, spending the time the last 15 years.
Yes.
It wouldn't have been something you would have done when you first started out.
I needed to prove myself. I went from being a journalist overnight to saying I sell travel now. And I had to spend the first 10 years kind of proving myself. And yeah, that's the difference, is that I have 15 years of experience now. I've worked with all different kinds of clients, from, corporate to cruise to extended families. And now what most of my clients have in common is that a lot of them have families, extended families. They do business trips that turn into leisure trips, and they've gotten to know me, and they know I can handle all of that. So yeah, 10 years ago, no way. And even 5 years ago, I didn't need to do it.
I have to give a nod to you, because, you have been a pioneer in many ways. I don't know, for those who don't know, Stacy was one of the first travel advisors to really extensively use social media and really be out there. It's one of the things she got a lot of her clients on. I still remember being, and we've talked about this before, being on the bus at a Virtuoso symposium in Mexico City, and
yes.
You really talked to me. You were just, I think it was actually a BlackBerry you were on. I won't say that, but it
was a BlackBerry.
It was a BlackBerry, and they're busy posting stuff on Twitter or whatever you were doing, and I'm like,
because that was the journalist in me. I was telling stories as I was going, and that's how I got these clients. So it was fun for me, but I also was in that mode of, oh my God, I want to make money and do this for a living. So yeah, I did use it. And now, you know what, I've circled back to Twitter. I have 71,000 followers there. I have a lot of people that I enjoy engaging. I don't get caught up in all the politics and bad news. I use Twitter to post things about that I'm learning about in travel, links to articles, videos, and also just fun stuff and photos of my dog. But with that big of a platform there, it's kind of silly not to use it. And Absolutely. Instagram, the same thing. So I've just gone back to using the basics, and people engage with that.
So I guess my final question, or one of my final questions, is what does the future hold for Elite Travel Club? I mean, are you going to be happy just to serve a specific, your best clients, and then do you think it's going to morph into something else, or you just don't know yet?
I have a few things on my docket that I want to do, like create a little members only, password protected, where I can put my journalism skills back to use and have some cool content for my clients. But I don't have grand plans right now. I'm laser focused on making sure I get the right people aligned with what I'm doing, and just helping them navigate this new world. I spend a lot of my day reading what's going on, who's got the new rules. So when a client throws that at me, I feel informed, and I need the time in the day to do that and to balance that. And also building relationships with suppliers. Getting back to, I chatted yesterday with Richard Leibowitz, who's now with ShareCare.
Oh yeah, I know.
I loved learning things I don't know. So I want to have the time to be able to do both and focus on my clients, focus on learning new things from suppliers that'll help my clients. So I don't know, your guess is as good as mine. I'm going to split my time between Maui and the Bay Area going forward, get to see clients in person, and take it day by day, like I do life these days, and not have a grand plan, because that's usually not how things end up going, and just try to stay healthy through all this.
Well, taking it day by day in Maui and San Francisco area is not too bad. So I think you've got, and then I'm sure you'll be traveling when a little bit more once things get a little better out there in the in the world. I guess my final question is, what is your advice to your fellow travel advisors? Is this revenue model, the club, is it something they might want to consider, especially since the old commission model really, because of this last 2 years, seems inadequate at best in the current environment? Would you recommend this?
You know, I think it's a really personal decision based on your relationship with your clients. I would tell people to not be afraid to do what they think might work for them, and not be worried that they're hopping off the train that a lot of people are on, or having to get to a certain revenue or be bigger. I think you really have to be willing to take some risks and do what feels right. So if you have a very loyal, base of clients and feel like you can charge them a fee, then don't be afraid to try it. I really didn't know. I was a little nervous when I sent out the first round of and invites. And one of my best clients wrote back right away, "I'm in. What do you need?" He signed up for the top tier, and that just gave me the confidence. Wow, I'm on the right track here. So I think it's a personal decision, but maybe do some version of it or increase your fees. I just found my clients weren't going to want to be charged cancellation fees and $500 per trip. And it's annoying to have to keep track. Did I charge them? Did I not?
Right.
So yeah, that's my advice, is don't feel like you have to do what everybody else is doing. Do what's going to work for you and your clients. And work.
Absolutely. Well, Stacy, I want to thank you for taking the time once again. Maybe this will be a top video for next year. We'll see what happens. Long year. But as always, it's great to chat with you. And you and I have been hanging around this industry for a little while now. And it's always interesting to talk with you about what innovations you're doing with your agency. And again, good luck with this new Elite Travel Club. It sounds like you're already doing very well, and got a lot of great future ahead of you. And hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Thank you so much, James. Talk soon. Thank you.
I'm James Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.